Hello everyone, welcome to Astro Life on Instagram. Once a week, we will bring you some recent transit and interesting topic in astrology. Well, today, because the next week we will have the solar eclipse. So today I invite Alejo going to talk about things about this eclipse. So it will be very interesting. Let me first invite Alejo. So you also notice the difference. So because today Alejo and I, we are going to try a different way. So let's see how it works, because unlike usually we do the horizontal thingy.
Hello.
Hola.
Hola, how are you?
I'm very well. It's a very different because I usually put in horizontal way, and today you suggest use this like a vertical way. Let's try how it looks like, because I know it's weird when people use the phone like this, and then if I put in horizontal, they will do like.
We could do it today with the eclipse actually, but it's okay. Can you hear me properly with this? I never use this.
Very clear, very clear.
Okay.
Oh, that's why your hair is a little bit wild. I said, what's wrong with your
It's
hair?
like, what? Yeah.
So how are you? How's everything?
I'm great. How are you? I'm
Not
excited
too
to be
bad.
here. Thank you.
Yeah, no, me too. It's always, I mean, for me, some people say, oh God, you do quite a lot of recording work, once a week you do the 10 minutes astrology, and then you have to do the, every Friday, some different topic. I say, one thing is very important. I enjoy this work. And for me, it's not just work, it's chatting, talking astrology with all my good
Yeah,
friends.
that's true. Yes.
It's lovely, and then it's like also we learn from each other. So Alejo, today our topic is about eclipse on the 25th of October. It's not far now. Yeah. So the things I know is at 2 degrees Scorpio, the new moon.
Yes.
2 degrees Scorpio. So what are you going to tell us today?
What am I going to tell you? I don't know. No, what I'm going to tell you is, first of all, I think it's very interesting because it's at 2 degrees in Scorpio, and we have Venus conjunct the Sun and the Moon, and it's a very tight conjunction. It's like.
Let me try to show the chart while you talk.
Okay.
All right.
Let's see if you manage. So, I mean, some astrologers, yeah, it looks great.
Let me make it a little bit bigger. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Fantastic.
Okay.
Okay, so I would emphasize for the people that are joining and are watching this, do not pay attention to the angles, of course. So the ascendant and all of that, because that's for London, is it? Probably.
Yes, this is for London, yes.
For London, yes. So we only care for the moment because we're going to talk in general. So we only care for the positions in signs, right?
Yep.
So there's the Sun, yes, 2 degrees of Scorpio. There's the Moon, also 2 degrees of Scorpio. And then we have the Venus at 2 degrees of Scorpio, 2 degrees 37, you have it. In mine, it comes up as 2 degrees 40. Well, because you have the chart of the new moon, I have the chart of the eclipse, which is a little bit tiny, few seconds later, I think.
Calculate in different way, yes.
Yeah, but it's the same anyway. So some astrologers will say that the Venus in this position is in Cazimi. Some astrologers would say it's not, because she needs to be even closer to the conjunction of the Sun and the Moon. Some astrologers say only a few minutes, but some of them say a whole degree. So we might consider it's in Cazimi. We don't know. Some astrologers will say it's in Cazimi. Some astrologers will say the Venus is under the rays of the Sun. Yeah, and I would say under the rays of the new moon. It's like super possessed by this new moon. So new moons are about beginnings, right? New moons are about things that are starting. And when they have an eclipse, it means that it's a full startup. It's not just a monthly thing that's starting now. It's something very potent that is starting now. And with Venus here, I'm wondering if this beginning has something to do with the idea of values, love, relationships, and also perhaps also financial issues. It could be. Venus also rules money, right? So it could also be something about financial issues. I think it's quite interesting because Venus is in the they're in Scorpio. So to have an eclipse, we need not only the sun to be conjunct the moon, but we also need to have the nodes nearby, right? And there you see the rod is pointing though to the south node. So the nodes are always on an axis. They're always in opposing signs. So the south node is in Scorpio, so that necessarily means that the north node is in Taurus. There's no other choice if the south node is in Scorpio. So what's interesting to me is that Venus is together with the sun and the moon with the south node, and the north node is in the sign that Venus rules. So it really is, I think, it really is calling us to transform the way we relate with Venus. Transform, it's a Scorpio way. Transform, it's a Scorpio word. Transform is also perhaps an eclipse word, the idea of things changing, ending and beginning. And in this case, where is it pointing out? What is it that we need to leave behind? We need to leave behind Scorpio, and we need to go towards the north node in Taurus. But this north node is ruled by Venus in Scorpio. So it means that to go to Taurus, to go to pleasant things, to go to stable things, to go and find loyalty in your relationships, we need to go through Venus in Scorpio. Venus in Scorpio is by deepening our bonds and relationships, and perhaps deepening them in a emotional way, in the sense like taking attention, paying attention to our emotions and feelings. So what's interesting, I think, about this eclipse, that I think it's telling us to make things work in real life, which is a Taurus thing, and to enjoy things in real life, we need to go through Venus in Scorpio, which is face emotional darkness, face emotional depth, face emotional commitment, and these kinds of things. And letting go. So it's like it's a paradox, because it's a south node, so it's something we need to let go, but at the same time, it's something we need to walk through in order to get to the north node. That's what I'm thinking.
Wow, that is so. This message is so important and profound, and especially with a sign of Scorpio, is there's the deep meaning, and there is like things you have to go very deep, very profound, and deep in your heart, deep in your life, deep in your past. All these kind of things, you have to maybe take it out and review, and then to decide what you keep and what you can let go, and how could you rise beyond all these maybe unpleasant past. And that is kind of an interesting message of the Scorpio. One thing I like to read in the eclipse is using the Benedict Brady's method about the solar circle. I love it so much, because we know the nodal axis have this kind of an 18-year circle, and related to the solar circle. That means every eclipse has its family repeat every 18 years, and 18.6 years. And
18, 19,
yes. So it's related to maybe it's related to the year 2004. What are we doing that time? What our experience that time during also this season, and also related to the 1986 and 1968, and that all this event will come forward, or maybe will trigger those things. It's possible trigger those things, but also with this solar circle family, Benedict Brady categorized is a south node. 6 solar circle 6 south node, and beginning of this solar circle is on the year 1049, well, a long time ago. But interesting pattern is in this solar circle, the first eclipse of this solar circle, new moon is kind of has aspect with Venus and with Uranus. Let's bring Venus, like we're talking about, another Venus. So it's have very strong meaning of Venus is maybe a kind of surprising relationship or force to start new things. Well, when you hear about
And I'm thinking,
yeah.
sorry. No, go on. I didn't mean to interrupt. Sorry.
Yeah. When you think about a force to start a new thing, you just like, oh, maybe it's not just happiness, but sometimes you have to go through something a little bit unpleasant. Maybe that could happen. Yeah. So
Yes.
that is quite interesting. And if we look at this chart, this solar eclipse also tightly conjunct with Venus, and that really bring the meaning, like you say, the relationship, friendship, maybe with about the value and maybe financial.
Yeah, and I was thinking, when I was talking, and then you added this Venus Uranus, which is again the idea of a radical change. I was thinking, do you remember the myth of Inanna? I don't
Yes.
remember it completely, but I was thinking about this idea of Inanna going through the underworld, so going through these passages, and she has to go to the underworld, and she has to in every gate, I think it was, she has to leave something of her clothes or some jewelry or something. So in the end, she's left with nothing.
Yes.
And when you are left with nothing, you're actually left with your essence, right? And then with that, she is rebirth. She comes back. She's allowed to come back, right?
Yes. And that is always a beautiful story with the Venus and the Scorpio, especially the Scorpio theme. You gradually take everything away. What do you think was important? What are you proud of? And what do you hold it? But you have to gradually take it away and give it away. And eventually your true self.
Yeah. And because it's like one of the key points between Scorpio and Taurus. It's like Scorpio, you can survive Scorpio if you trust that nature will provide. You can survive this idea of death and transformation, which is a Scorpio, if you trust Taurus, if you trust that there's a vital impulse, that is abundant, that its resources are never ending. But if you truly trust it, then you also need to be really capable of letting go of things. And I think there's something of that being played out here. Also,
wow.
I'm thinking, sorry.
No, sorry. What's me? You, please.
I'm also thinking, worldwide speaking, you're more attuned perhaps to worldwide astrology. But I'm also thinking, we've been through very tough years.
Yes.
And I think this eclipse may be announcing the beginning of something new. The idea of we're leaving behind. The nodes have been in Scorpio Taurus now for a while, and I think it is kind of pulling. Let's get out of Scorpion waters, of these dark, muddy, dense waters, into appreciating life, which is Taurus, right? And I think with everything that's happening, there is something about that, kind of appreciating life, the North Node in Taurus, letting go perhaps of some intense emotional approach to reality, which is linked with the darkness and the end of things, but not letting it go resentfulness, because for resentfulness, because Venus is there, and Venus is the ruler of where we're going, right? So being aware of what happened, but also kind of growing from there into the idea of life and vitality or something like that. Like moving to a place of more pleasure after these tough years that we had.
That would be that is possibility, because I think this solar eclipse in Scorpio prepare us to face even more challenge. Like we know by next year we will have Saturn moving into Pisces and Pluto into Aquarius. That what we keep repeat, and people just like, what does that mean? Well, at least one thing we sure, the two important outer planet moving sign. That means our society, our culture, our political, especially our economic, going to have a huge shipment. And to be honest, any animal doesn't like change. So prepare us.
So I'm just being optimistic.
we have to examine what is important. Scorpio, what do you want to hold in your hand? What is precious for you?
Yeah. And then the other thing I think it's interesting about this eclipse is that, of course, it's in Scorpio. So the ruler is Mars, right? One of the rulers is Mars.
Yes.
Who has been in Gemini forever now, and it's still going to be forever in Gemini.
Yeah, here we are.
So I think it's emphasizing this whole period that we're having with Mars in Gemini for so long, Mars out of bounds, it's been for out of bounds. So this idea of this perhaps, I don't want to say erratic, but I want to say like a very active, relentless Mars in the mental field, of course, in an intellectual way, because it's a Gemini. And it's trining, it's trining Saturn and Mercury. So it's like emphasizing this idea of the intellectual aspect of things.
Yeah, I think this Mars does play an interesting role because it's a ruler of the eclipse, and then we know it's going to retrograde and out of bounds. So Mars does play an important role from now. I have to say, from in couple of days, it will get into the out of bound, and it will get wild and a little bit, out of control. And then, so during this moment of like move in and out, move backward, forwards, that maybe tell us maybe our mind change. We are trying to do something. We are trying to make some idea work, but we will realize the situation or the environment may not ready for it. Then we have to go back to review our plan to prepare our next battle. And that is Mars, the retrograde Mars. You're going to review all your plan and how you're going to carry out things. Then when Mars moves forward, you can start to, push it to move forward. So that also tells us the things are not that direct and easy when we are experience these, the things are related to this solar eclipse in the Scorpio.
I think so too, and I think perhaps the mind, our minds are going to start trying to work it out, and the eclipse is between water and earth. So it's not about a rational thing. It has to do more with being practical and also being in touch with your emotions. In the zodiac, always being practical is linked to your emotions, because all of the earth signs are opposing water signs. So they are complementing each other, right? So I think there is this kind of, your mind is trying to solve this equation out.
Yeah.
And the eclipse is pointing, listen to your body, don't listen to your mind. Pay attention to your emotions, listen to your body. This is what's going to tell you how to survive this period. Wow,
so beautiful. So it's not just about what we feel, but also it's about our mind and our body. So all have to work together. That is kind of not an easy task, to be honest.
No, it's not easy. I don't think it's going to be easy, no.
Yeah. I think especially when people who has the planet around this degree about early fixed sign, first the Scorpio and the Taurus, and also maybe if you have planet in the early Aquarius and Leo, might feel the same. You might kind of feel that the kind of battle and that kind of I'm trying to hold things, or should I let go of something, and that is kind of a challenge, and wouldn't be easy.
Yeah, especially if you have if you have planets there. Also, I think, what do you think of the Jupiter in Aries?
Well,
which is exactly at 0 degrees. Yeah, what do you think?
Yes. Well, Jupiter in this position, I think it brings us hope and brave. But one thing we have to remember, Jupiter very soon will retrograde back to Pisces.
Yes.
And that is where Jupiter enjoy. So at this time, so we may experience some challenge and to see things to what should we keep and what should we let go. But Jupiter is there to appreciate those things in Pisces and to make it most. And some people just like enjoy a little bit more. But what I think is that when Jupiter moved back to Aries, the things would be very, very different. Would be very, very different. Yeah.
But do you think it's going to be like an explosion of trust and faith or not? I mean, maybe when Jupiter retrogrades and goes into Pisces, we have the time to reflect. And then when it goes back into Aries, it's going to tell us, okay, now put it out there, put your vision out there. You have the fire to do it. I don't know.
Well, another thing, I think it's not only about the sign. I think you point out another thing, this Jupiter take important role because during this time, during this eclipse, is also Jupiter is step into its first state of the phase. It's a first semi-square with Saturn.
Yes, it's true.
Yes. So after year 2000 and 2020. Sorry, after 2020, Jupiter Saturn was conjunct in the 0-degree Aquarius, and now Jupiter moved forward and also Saturn moved forward. Now they come to the first semi-square. It's the first stage. The first stage when things develop. Now we have a more clear idea about what should I say, maybe the 17 and a half years. The whole cycle is 20 years. Now we already have a two and a half years now. So maybe this cycle, this Jupiter Saturn conjunct in Aquarius, what does that mean for you, for me, for us, for country, for society, for our everyday life? And we will see the chance coming out. We will see those agents start to play, and we will say, oh, maybe there is a potential of this. Maybe there's a potential of developing of that. Maybe the society should go this way or that way. We have a little more clear idea about what does that mean when Jupiter and Saturn conjunct in the Aquarius. Look about now, I think, what we're feeling about the protest in Iran and all the UK's Tory government's decision or Sweden go right wing, all the things we are really looking for. We just like, is that what we vote for? Is that what we choose for? So it is also related to our everyday life. Is this choice what I want for next 20 years?
Yes, I agree. Yeah. Very good. Yeah, very cool. Yes. And also, I wanted to read. I looked for the Sabian symbol.
Yes.
For the 3rd degree of Scorpio. So if it's 2 degrees, we look for the Sabian symbol for the 3rd degree of Scorpio for the eclipse. Because I think it has a lot to do with the things we're talking about.
Okay, please share.
So the image is a group of Western pioneers nails up the frame of a new schoolhouse, taking direction from the encouraging commands of their leader. But then we have like an explanation. So basically it says organizing a team effort, building on a solid foundation of goodwill, starting an idealistic new organization, rebuilding society from the ground up with attention to basic principles, and especially the education of the young. We didn't talk so much about this idea of education. But it's true that Mars is in Gemini, the ruler.
Yeah.
Trying to live in harmony with nature and with human nature, which is something I think we talked about. Good-natured toleration of the various type of people one has to work with. Forgiving people their faults versus ruthless purges of people who undermine group efforts. I think it has a lot to do with things that we're living, what you were saying, that's happening in the world. Assigning jobs in order to maximize individual talents and minimize liabilities. Patching up disagreements. I think this has to do with the Venus in Scorpio, the thing of moving from Scorpio to Taurus. Emotional persuasion versus hammering away at a point. Believe the competences gives them the right to control a project. And then I think this is the last one, having a concrete plan versus letting things fall into place. keeping up morale with a can-do attitude.
Wow. I always feel the Sabian symbol is kind of mystic and a little bit intangible. It's a fantastic way to read the degree, isn't it? How do you think about Sabian symbol?
I think it's weird. I mean, I think it's weird how they came up. They got inspired and they wrote these symbols well.
Yes.
But I mean, come on, how did astrology came up? Probably something like that. They got inspired and they said, okay, this is that. So I sometimes read them. I don't pay a lot of focus on them, but I sometimes read them. I think they are good if you want to do some kind of meditation on, Melanie Reinhardt, she always used to say that when a planet changes signs, or when something like a celestial phenomenon is happening and it's important, it's nice to have a few minutes at home and do a little meditation to tune in with that. And for some people, that might be very hard. Like, what do I sit and I just think of the planet? I mean, that might be very hard, right? So I think it's good to have an image. And just imagine, just see the image and see what happens.
That is so interesting. Thank you for sharing this Sabian symbol with us, because I would never think about that, to be honest. Well, another information I want to provide, that this could be applied in the world event way, or also in our personal life way, especially when you have a planet related to this eclipse, I mean, around the 2 degree, around early degree of the fixed sign. What I really like is the lunar phase, and in a so-called of a metonic cycle way. So which means every 9 months ish, around the 9 months something, and the similar degree will happen for the same lunation. So for example, we have this solar eclipse on 25th of October this year. So the 9 months after, around the July, around the 25th of July, the first quarter moon will happen in 2 degree Scorpio again. And this suggests anything happen around this time, this month, for this new moon, it will have a important development around the July 2023, end of July 2023, and then it will continue unfold. We may see it result around the April 23rd, 2024, when this full moon happened at 4 degrees Scorpio. And then
I love that.
One, and the final one is the year 2025 in January. In January year 2025, this degree will happen in the 2 degrees Scorpio again in the last quarter moon. That would be the wrap up, and the end of things. We would be more clear what are we going to do and what we're going to try. And I really love this method. And for personal developed work, I experience this kind of a cycle. It's quite interesting. Also, I do a lot of mundane study about this, this kind of metonic cycle things. It's so interesting. I don't want to say it's every time it's correct, but things could relate it to each other for this 9 months gap. Would be very interesting. So if you have planet being triggered by this eclipse, keep an eye on those data I was talking about, because could be important development happen during that time.
Yeah, and I would say collaborate with that. I also like this 9 month cycle much more. Some people say, okay, if the new moon is now in a Scorpio, so the next full moon in a Scorpio, not the next full moon, like in 6 months, so which will be in Taurus, the next full moon of Taurus, let's say, it's going to be the one where these things are resolved. And I find it so unrealistic. It's only just 6 months. Come on. I find it like it's so quick. And I like this one, this 9 month thing. I think it has so much more potency. So what I would say, what's interesting also is, yes, if you have a planet at 2 degrees of Scorpio or 1 degree more or less, I would say, think about that planet, think about the things you want to do, set your intentions, and set your goal, because it means that you're going to start seeing what this is about in 9 months, in the day that you said. So don't just think about it and put your intentions, write it down, and I would say be very specific. What do you want to see when the square
Mm-hmm.
happens?
Mm-hmm.
So, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, paste it onto your mirror so you see it every
Uh-huh.
morning, and you can you can work with it, because it's like you said. I mean, it's an opportunity. Maybe, you said sometimes, you said, I wouldn't say that every time, every
Mm-hmm.
single one it matches, but
Mm-hmm.
most of them do. So I think
Mm-hmm.
it's an opportunity for to develop. So you can
Mm-hmm.
take it or not. If you don't take it, probably something will happen anyway. But if you take
Mm-hmm.
it, maybe you will get, if you participate with the cosmos, and if you will collaborate with these energies, I think it might be better. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, I like this. This is more positive, and you serve with it, you use it rather than you just waiting to it waiting it happen. So you are more in control. It doesn't not mean that it's all good or something, but that you use these. When you see the huge wave coming, you want to just like screaming and running like a headless chicken, or you are going to prepare your surfboard to ride the wave, to do the surfing with it. It would be fantastic. It would be exciting. Well, you may or may not succeed, but hey, at least you try, and at least it's very, for astrologer, eclipse is a huge energy. To be honest, it's very intensive. So why not try to enjoy it and ride it if you can?
I mean, of course, it's going to be Scorpio themes, as we said. It's
Yep.
going to be Taurian thing. It's going to be this Mars Gemini crazy thing. So it's not
Mm-hmm.
like you can do whatever you want. You cannot put whatever intention you
Yeah.
want. I want to be free and travel, and well, I don't know. It's not Sagittarius, maybe it's a Scorpio. So I mean, you have to focus on what is it in your chart that is triggering, and what the flavor of the energy is like.
Mm-hmm.
But if you accept this, so you say, okay, given these circumstances,
Mm-hmm.
what can I build from this? What do I expect to build from this in nine
Mm-hmm.
months?
Yeah.
I think you might be more satisfied than in nine
Yeah.
months than just playing the victim. Oh no, it's just because I had an eclipse on my I don't know Mars or whatever, and now this is happening. It's like,
Yeah.
no, come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. Could be. It's possible. It is so interesting. Wow. Today, to be honest, I didn't expecting we're going to talk about all these things, because
Me neither.
this is very important. And to be honest, this could be a webinar, but we all give it out like this. I hope our
Yes.
audience understand what we're talking about and can really apply it in your life. And this is what we want. We want to share our knowledge. We want to make astrology more interesting, but also help us, to apply it in our life. So before we finish today, Alejo, you have any few things to wrap up to say, or
I wanted to ask you a question. Do we have some time, or is it too much?
yeah, we have time. Come on.
Because when I look at the map of the eclipse,
Yeah.
it's going over South Africa, right? But very little. Like the major part, I don't
Yes.
think. I think the major part is going through the South Pole,
Yes. Yes.
but the tiny bit's going through South Africa.
Yes.
Do you think this is meaning that something impactful will happen either with South Africa or something maybe in the Antarctica?
I think could be, at least it's just, the when the path of the eclipse pass like that, it usually could be the impact. So maybe we should careful about the climate change
I think
impact
so. That's what I was
of
thinking.
of
Yes,
Antarctica, and then why not
because
in
it's
South
also,
Africa?
you know, Scorpio Taurus is also something about nature, and
Yes, yes.
so that's what I was thinking.
Yes, that could be very, very important. That could be very, very important message about us. Maybe we're going to experience something. Maybe we're going to experience something more. More strong, more powerful to the environmental change. That could be
Yeah,
worth to pay attention. Yes, and then Scorpio that tell us what you want to keep and what you want to let go, and then Taurus tell us like what is the realistic way we can do for help our planet.
yeah, because
Yeah.
uh, That's
You there?
I'm here. Yes, I'm thinking. I don't remember. I want to say something, but I don't remember. No, I'm not going to say it because I don't remember. No, it's okay.
Well, I think it's so interesting. We even talk about the eclipse, the area of eclipse impact, and it is very interesting in astrology. We all consider not only just what happened in the zodiac, we also consider the location and the impact of the world. So it is very interesting. And today we really give a good tips talking about this eclipse. I'm so happy. Even for myself, I have some idea, like you say, what I'm going to apply in my life and make a 9 months plan, 18 months plan to maybe, to try to fit into this Scorpio and Taurus theme, to work on it. That would be very, very interesting. Thank you, Alejo. Well, so
Thank you very much.
yeah, thank you very much. And the next week we will have Izabela come back. We will talk about the transit of that week, and also, but Alejo, this is not only things we do this week, right? We're so busy.
No, Friday.
Friday. So Friday, what are we going to talk about? Do you still remember?
Friday we have an Astro night on YouTube,
Yeah.
and everybody's invited. And we're going to talk about the different types of rage.
Different type of rage with Mars. Again, we're going
With
to
Mars, of course,
Mars.
yes.
Yeah. Last time we talked about the Mars with sex. That was so fun. But this time we'll still go with Mars, but we're talking about Mars with a rage, and that would be so interesting. Please join us on YouTube on the Friday at 8 p.m. UK time. Then me and Alejo will talk about Mars and rage, and we can have some interaction. If you join us, you can ask some question. That would be so interesting. Yeah, and some people just send me a message say, "Are you going to save this live? Would be awesome." Yeah, we definitely going to save, and I will try to put on YouTube to see how does this new way to recording works.
You can say that it was I who insisted on doing it this way.
Yes, was Alejo insisting, why should we try it? I say, well, I never tried it. Let's try it, let's try it. But I think it's fun.
Sometimes I can be very stubborn.
That's all right. You're my good friend, so I listen, and I think it changed, and maybe if it works, maybe in the future we don't always do this. And I think all the astrologers, including Liam, Fernanda, and Izabela, was finally Lord changed his mind. Okay. Thank you, Alejo, and thanks everyone for watching. Yes, this video was saved, and I also will upload to YouTube in a couple hours time when I convert it. Okay, thank you, everyone.
All right.
Bye. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.